This is Tyrese Haliburton, and you're listening to Setting the Pace.
Joining us now on Setting the Pace, he is no stranger to Pacer fans. It is the voice of Locked On Pacers and does all of his work over at Forbes.com, and it's Tony East. Tony, thanks for joining us. How you doing, buddy?
No stranger danger. Alex, about time we talked about the Pacers. It's been a whole 6 days, 7 days.
It's been a minute. It's been a whole week. I think it was last Sunday we talked. So maybe
that's right. 8 days.
8-9 days, whatever it is. I'm losing track here, but
this is also my first Setting the Pace appearance since meeting Facci in person. By complete accident.
Yep.
That was crazy.
It was. I don't know how many people were in the arena that night, but it was fate. We bumped right into each other. Man, it was hard to move in those whatever you call it. But
it's hard to get out of MSG.
What game did you guys meet? I mean, that's pretty
Game one, right?
Game one, the classic, Tyrese Haliburton, bounces off the rim and goes in, broke the curse that night. Saw Tony. I mean, that night had a little bit of everything.
That's so fun. I was like, who's this Reggie Miller jersey? Oh,
yeah,
I know him.
Alex didn't believe I wore it in the arena. I was telling him, hey, look, there was very few Pacer fans there that night. I stood out like a sore thumb wearing the Reggie jersey, but had to do it, and it all paid off. Plus, since we won, not a lot of people had a lot of things to say. People were just kind of depressed, so I made it out of there alive.
I think if I would have been a Knicks fan, I would have been pretty depressed, losing a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter and losing that game as well. So it is justified why they were upset. But we've been talking about a lot of stuff here, Tony, on the podcast, and a lot of stuff I don't want to reiterate. But one thing I am curious about is, out of all the players that have a chance to develop this year, who is maybe the most intriguing to you in terms of watching them grow this year into a different role?
Yeah, two guys stand out to me. When I get back from my upcoming trip, I have my most interesting Pacers podcast on my way too far planned out schedule of shows. And my top two will be Jarris Walker and Benn Mathurin for the same reasons they were last year at this time, right? Last year, if anybody remembers, like, people weren't thinking of the Pacers as like a contender mode all the time. Like, everybody thought they'd be good, but there was kind of like this figure out what's up with Jarris and figure out what's up with Mathurin and maybe trade him for a really good player midseason or figure out what's going on there. And then they didn't do any of that. They were just really good by the trade deadline, and Mathurin was a key playoff contributor who won them a finals game, and Jarris was playing well before he got hurt, and that's all fine and dandy. But, like, on one hand, it's good that they played well and, established that they should stay on the team. On the other hand, they're still young. They're still on their rookie deals, and the clock is ticking on actually paying them money. Jarris is interesting because year three is usually like the make or break point, right? Year one, you're a rookie. Year two, you've like learned the league. You have some good moments and some bad. Year three is like, you should be good. Like, you should be playing at least pretty well or showing some consistency or some teeth. And obviously Mathurin has the contract stuff floating over him and his role. And like, will he actually be starting? He probably should, but like, it doesn't seem like that's a set in stone thing. So it's those two, but if you made me pick my one, it's Jarris, just because he could add an element to the team that I feel like they just do not have. And that type of player, if it hits, is such a huge archetype.
Sticking on Mathurin, interesting question over here. Just thought about this. What's more likely to happen? Benedict Mathurin leading the team in scoring, or Benedict Mathurin being traded and not finishing the regular season next year with the Pacers?
Dang, that's a good one. I think that because I actually think it's decently likely he would lead the team in scoring, because
a possibility.
No Haliburton, and Siakam is going to be their go-to guy, but I've made the case, I don't know if you guys have really dove into this, but like, Siakam should probably play fewer minutes per game next year. Not because it's like they're not trying to win, but because why are you putting all this mileage on him in a whatever you want to call next season, right? So he should probably still play like 30 plus, but not much more than that, hardly ever. So there's a real chance of Mathurin starting that he is in their top 4 or 3 in minutes per game and total minutes on the season. He's usually a healthy guy outside of his shoulder injury, and he can obviously score. So, man, he might be the second favorite to lead the team in scoring. It's not even crazy to me that he'd be first. Trade's tough with these guys at this time, right? Like, when everybody knows they're extension eligible, and it's like, you're not trading somebody who's really good after 3 years of their rookie deal, right? Mark Williams just got moved for 2 like crappy firsts, and like, Mark Williams is good. They were in the same draft, right? So I think both are, I guess, plausible. I would say the more likely thing is actually him leading the team in scoring. Now that you got me thinking about it, that's crazy. I haven't really put that together in my brain yet.
It just popped in my head. It felt right, and it just had to come out right now. But I think that is something that people could very much debate. So I think we'll see how the first half of the season goes. And I think that might dictate that answer.
Good question. Both are over like a 15 to 20% chance, which is crazy.
Like, what are the odds that they both happen? Like that to me is like,
that could happen.
What
too.
if he leads the team in scoring and then they trade him still? Like, how crazy would that be?
Yeah, geez. I mean, it might depend how their season is going, but like, it's so interesting with guys at his spot because, like, if he plays well, that's obviously good in theory, but his trade value can't go up that much with like free agency coming up. I guess restricted free agency really helps, like we're seeing with some of these great, not exceptional restricted guys right now who are all still free agents, but it's just a tricky time in the lifespan of a player trying to get paid, right? So he should want to ball out and lead the team in scoring, right? So, yeah, maybe both happen. But if he leads the team in scoring, I think his chances of being traded would go down just a little bit.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that it just depends, like you said, on how the season's going. Because if they're playing well and he's playing well and like leading the team in scoring, like it would be kind of asinine to trade him. And I think fans would be very upset if that were the case because it would just kind of like go against everything it feels like they've been preaching this offseason. Like we're going to win, we're going to try to do our best. But moving forward here, there's a lot of ways I could go, but I am curious your thoughts on the Tony Bradley non-guaranteed contract situation, just because I've heard you talk about it on your podcast saying like, yeah, they're definitely going to give him a chance at training camp. But the way I kind of took it from what Chad said was like, well, we do have an open roster spot because Tony Bradley's contract's non-guaranteed. So to me, it's like, what makes more sense, to keep a forced center and Tony Bradley around, or to open up that roster spot and give yourself more flexibility?
Yeah, I think both are kind of true, right? I think they'll keep him to camp, but they could view it as an open spot of like someone could easily beat him out, right? And I mean, I made the case that I would have kept Freeman on a two-way and gave Jackson some guaranteed money and said, Tony Bradley, if you're going to make the team, you got to beat out Wiseman or Jackson or something else. Look, the main reason to have him on this non-guaranteed deal is like what happened with Vasilij Micic. Like if you just need to trade someone and add like a tiny bit of salary, great, you can guarantee a little more money for this non-guaranteed guy and send him out, and the other team doesn't care because it's such a small amount. But I think keeping four centers does make sense. I mean, when you go back to some of the center by committee teams that Carlisle's kind of had, like they've had this some combination of like Nerlens Noel, Dwight Powell, Andrew Bogut, Salah Mejri. It's like they just churn through these names. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about those guys. But they had four for either like injury reasons or ability reasons or whatever. And in this case for the Pacers, like I don't know what they're gonna feel like for back-to-backs they can do with Wiseman and Jackson, but I would assume early in the season that they might not be ready to do that, or you don't want to make them do that. So you'd need another center for those games. It's like always the center with the most injuries, even when you don't consider Achilles tears in the past. Like the Pacers were churning through like Jakar Sampson and Goga playing 40-plus games per season when those guys were technically center. So I do think it does make sense to keep four. Does it make sense for it to necessarily be Tony Bradley? I mean, I don't know that it does or doesn't matter. He's on a non-guaranteed deal, and I would assume that it would be non-guaranteed even if he came back on like a cheaper deal before the season starts and figured out as it goes. But I get why they would view it as an open spot. Last year they started the season with 14 after they cut both Swider and Brown. That's also possible. Open up some flexibility in that way, but flexibility for what? Like to sign another center in the future when there's injuries? Like what's the, I guess if they want more tax space, that's fine, but I don't see the real threat of not having that when you don't know how effective those other two players are going to be.
When we talk about center by committee, it feels to be like one of the top terms of the offseason. Yeah, their committee definitely sounds like the proper word. We're going to see how this shakes out. But, you know, what is your early feeling on Isaiah Jackson? I mean, if you're going to ever tear your Achilles, I guess, hey, at least it happened in the very beginning of last season. It gives him a lot of time to recover. Obviously, he's rewarded with that contract in restricted free agency, and I think it's a great deal for the Pacers. But how do you feel about Isaiah Jackson stepping into a much bigger role as perhaps the starting center?
Yeah, I ran through the whole like how the Mavs handled center by committee year by year in the late Dirk era. Like it took them a while to figure it out, right? Like after Tyson Chandler and before trading for Porzingis, they were just like, we'll try you and you and you and this and that. And it's like, it sounds good if one of the committee guys works, and that is possible. Like people really like Jay Huff, and Isaiah Jackson was quite good for the Pacers before getting hurt, but you just never know how they'll look. You know, there's a reason they get the salary they make, or they're coming off of an injury. As for Jackson specifically, like they wouldn't have given him the amount of guarantees they did to me if they weren't pretty confident in his health, right? Obviously there's injury protections in the contract, but they have to feel good about it. And like I've been able to see him run and use this heavier ball in practice and stuff. He's like bigger, physically bigger now. So I think they should be confident in that part of where he's at, but you just never know, especially the guy who's so reliant on athleticism as like his peak thing, how good he's going to look coming back. And I've mentioned this a million times, but Jahlil Okafor said he could play games again 9 months after his Achilles tear, but he didn't feel like Jahlil Okafor playing until a year and a half, right? And that's why the early injury part really matters, is there's a chance Jackson and Wiseman could be playing like themselves, at least during the season at some point. But early in the year, those guys, especially if Jackson's a starter, like you wonder how effective he'll be or what he'll be able to do and how good he'll look. But I think he should probably have just slightly ever so the inside track to start, just because he knows the system the best, and they certainly paid him like they believe he could be that starter.
I want to talk about Tyrese Haliburton's exemption the Pacers applied for and they got with the injury. I think a lot of people are kind of confused on how that works, and I know that you're very good at this kind of stuff.
People confused about a salary cap exception? That never happens.
So, like, just to be clear, what is the total amount they can use on a player with that exception? How does it count against their cap? And can they use that in a trade?
Okay. So it counts against the cap none until they use it. Like, it just is an exception. Halliburton's salary counts in full against the cap, and he counts as a rostered player. That's sort of a bummer, but like, I get why that rule is the case. I have a different part of the DPE rules I would change, irrelevant to what you're asking me. So the way it works is you get either half the player's salary as the salary cap exception, or the non-tax mid-level, whichever number is lower. In this case, it's the non-tax mid-level, so about $14.1 million that the Pacers have via this exception, to add a player whose contract is 1 year in length or less. That could be any method, right? Trade, free agency, whatever, right? They applied for 2 DPs last year, and they got them for Wiseman and Jackson. Now, they were both functionally sort of challenging to use because of how small those players' salaries were. I think Tony Bradley was into one of them. I can't remember if they used both. But that was like, it was a $2.2 million one for Jackson and like 1.1 for Wiseman, which isn't so exciting, but they did it last year. They expire if you don't use them by early March. Look, that's when they signed Tony Bradley. So there is like functionally ways to use a $14 million trade exception to sign someone or to trade for someone making that much money. Like, you don't have to salary match. You could just take them into the exception, but you can't like stack it with another exception. You can't stack it with other salary, like a $9 million player, and take back a $23 million player. The max a player can make going into it is that $14.1 million. And they don't have that much space below the tax. So I doubt they would use any or all of it unless they sent out money in the move or did a different trade before at some point using it on someone else.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it before, at least Alex and I think probably others agree. Like, they could probably use another ball handler in this lineup. You got your Nembhards, your TJ McConnells, and then after that, it's a bit of a question mark. You know, with training camp coming up, and you could have an expanded roster, you know, to go into training camp before you have to make some hard decisions. Do you see the Pacers maybe bringing in anyone else, or is it just, hey, you know what, this is what it is, and we're gonna make the most out of this?
Yeah, if Bradley is truly like an open spot, that's what I would be trying to look at, right? Is there a ball handle that actually makes sense for them to bring in? But, you know, it's got to be the right player who's like, yeah, I'd be willing to fight for a spot as the 3rd, 4th, 5th guard, whatever, on this team. Like, they wouldn't play on a normal night. So it's like a hard, exact player to find. But I think they could use one. Like, Quentin Jackson's good. I think Quentin Jackson's good. Is he like actually a lead ball handler initiator? Like, no, he's definitely a scorer. You know, Ray J. Dennis had some nice moments of being that kind of player in summer league. Is he able to do that on a nightly basis? No, probably not. You know, so do they have a 3rd point guard they're comfortable with? I don't know. Like, is that committee of 2A guys enough? I doubt it. I would think they'd explore it. Maybe they could just, you know, go to the season with no one, and if they actually need a point guard at some time, they could just sign them mid-season. But like, they signed Brad Wanamaker in training camp a few years ago. Like, they've done this later in the year if they know they have to. I'm sure everybody's thrilled to hear Brad Wanamaker's name brought up. He was not very good for the Pacers, certainly. But like, I think they should probably at least poke around, see if there's one available that they like. But I don't know that they need to do it right this second, because they have the two ways kind of locked up at that position. That's, you know, up to 100 games of 2-way plays if you need it. But, you know, who knows if those guys are actually good enough to do what they need them to do or help other guys with development. So I would explore it. I made that case for a lot of the summer, but it's tough at this point of the offseason. Like, the guys who are available who are good don't want to come to the Pacers. They wouldn't play, and everybody below them is like, well, why are you jumping all over that right now? Like, just wait and see. So I wouldn't expect anything imminent there, but that's just a hunch.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they do kind of bring somebody in on an Exhibit 10 contract for training camp. We kind of saw that last year. Kendall Brown was one of those guys that was on the 15-man roster that you just didn't feel like he was necessarily going to make it. And then Cole Swider was brought in as well. Ended up cutting both. I know there was some reporting out there that said that once Kendall Brown got cut, it was Cole Swider that got the job, but that was not factual. Just want to throw that out there. But
good times.
Yeah, I'm just curious though, like, is there a name or two that maybe you're looking at in terms of someone that would make sense on an Exhibit 10 deal for that point guard spot?
Exhibit 10 is interesting because not always, but typically those guys are 2A eligible because you could convert them if you need to. Not always. The name that I've bandied around as the face of what I would think about is the Pacers Monte Morris, just caretaker-y dude. He's not that good anymore, but what possibly could Monte Morris expect of a role anymore? He barely played for Phoenix last year. He barely played for Detroit before that. He was hurt that year. Get a spot in the league would be probably worth it to him, and he just doesn't turn it over that much. That helps other guys develop to have just somebody who knows what they're doing. And he'd probably take a low to non-guaranteed Exhibit 10 kind of deal, go fight it out in camp like Swider did last year, see if you can make the team. Langston Galloway-esque from a few years ago too, same kind of deal. He was battling with James Johnson for one of those spots, right? So that's the face name I've had for it. I'm sure there's other guys that are kind of about that talent level that are just sitting out there, but people keep saying they should sign Westbrook. I'm why? Why? That doesn't make any sense. Brogdon doesn't make any sense.
Is he really going to Sacramento? Westbrook?
Yeah, it seems pretty fait accompli by the reporting. But what is going? No, you didn't ask this. Why are the Kings let's dump Malik Monk? We're so excited for this. Malik Monk is good. I don't get what they're doing.
How much does he make per year? Could they get him in the trade exception or
no, didn't he get a
he got a raise? I think last year, didn't he?
Yeah, I was gonna say he got a new deal that's a little over that.
Yeah, I was curious. I saw that. I was that'd be a nice name to add to the Pacers.
I mean,
for 78 last year. Yeah, that's too high.
Right, so that's right around 17. So he'll be making 18.8 this year. So just a little bit too high. But one of the words that you did use was develop. Now, when you look at some of the players that maybe we're hoping could take a step forward, a guy like Ben Sheppard going into year 3, what can we really expect for Ben Sheppard? Is there more? The guy was drafted as such a good 3-point shooter, coming out of college. Haven't really been able to see it consistently at all, to put it nicely. Is Ben Sheppard someone that could take a big step forward this year, or are we kind of just looking at probably what he is?
Yeah, boy, was he clunking him from 3 to close the season last year. My palace on Ben Sheppard Island, it keeps growing as people left in March, but I'll admit that our foundation was shaken by the poor shooting of his late season. I've been thinking, I do this a lot where I just lock on to a player and think about them a lot. It was Enrique Freeman, and now he's gone. And it's been Ben Sheppard recently because I hear all the time people be like, oh, this guy has a much higher ceiling than Ben Sheppard. And I functionally understand why people say that. Guys who could score a lot or have all these skills, in theory, have a higher ceiling. But a 3-and-D player is super valuable. That's a high ceiling if you actually do it. Now, Ben Sheppard is better at defending guards, not wings, and the 3 part of the 3-and-D has not actually materialized, despite him looking like a good shooter and his team believing he's a good shooter and giving him the ball. So his ceiling still seems interesting and high to me, and he doesn't ever mess up. He runs the offense, he cuts, he gets off the ball, he battles the whole time. You never can question his effort kind of stuff. It's just at what point does shooting 39% on all shots, not just threes, his threes are worse than that. At what point is that a mistake? At what volume is that a mistake? Or you can't actually get to the rim that often. He tried to in Summer League last year, wasn't really there. That's the next step for him in development, is the Nesmith step that happened in Nesmith's, ironically, 3rd season, where he could actually do stuff off the bounce. And it was oh, that works. He's making the mid-ranger, he's getting to the basket once a game or twice a game. That's what's next for him. But the 3-and-D ceiling is very high. It's just, it hasn't happened yet. And so that's kind of what I think they need to explore is, one, how high on the development ladder can they get him as just kind of a 3-and-D small wing / big guard? And then thing 2 is, can he add those other things of any sort of ball handling, a little more advanced, actually creation, passing? Can he guard up at all? Because it seems like he's basically only capable of being a good on-ball defender on guards. Can they get him on wings? I kind of doubt it. He's a little scrawny, but there's a lot to explore with him, and he's just kind of in this interesting spot where every fan thinks he stinks for some reason, even though I don't, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes this year. My palace will be bigger than the island by the end of the Ben Sheppard experience.
I felt bad because I laughed at Facci's initial question just because I was not expecting Ben Sheppard to be the name that came out of his mouth when talking about exciting players that are developing.
Yeah, Furphy's been the hotter name this summer, but like I want to see a little bit more out of Sheppard because I feel like there's, the Pacers, obviously the front office really likes him. I think Rick really likes him, and I think that he's got a really good opportunity this year. But there's also, spots are hard to come by. So just curious.
Yeah, I'm not mad that you asked about it. I was expecting a Ben Mathurin question or a perfect question. I get Ben Sheppard development. Okay, let's do it. That's where we're at.
That's good though. I've been thinking a lot about Ben Sheppard. It's perfect.
I know. I've been enjoying building your castle for Ben Sheppard. It's been great to hear. But last one for me in terms of our basketball conversation, I want to know a little bit more about James Wiseman because this is a guy that I feel like is kind of lost in the shuffle for the center rotation. People are kind of maybe not thinking too much about him. I know when they initially, KP said it and fans heard it, they were like, let's go. Hope he starts. Now you've seen that kind of die off of social media. You haven't really heard that much, but just curious the pros and cons of James Wiseman and what you're kind of maybe thinking about his role next year with this team.
Yeah, very polarizing, right? Some people are really psyched about James Wiseman being back. And I am intrigued certainly to see what the Pacers player development pipeline can do to him. Like they've developed a lot of guys in that exact draft class. I also said a lot of this stuff last summer, right? So it's a lot of recycled opinions just a year later because he tore his Achilles and this is now his second major injury, right? With Jackson, it's his first. Like Wiseman lost a whole year with that meniscus injury with the Warriors. I'm not saying that makes the Achilles more likely to mess him up. I wonder what he's going to look like. I think it's very obvious he'll be the third big behind Jackson and Huff in some order, right? So he'll play. Both of them will get hurt at some point. That's how the center position works. He will play, right? What can he do? What is this going to look like for him after two major injuries now in his career? Can he still be the same guy he was like last year at times? He was very productive in his preseason minutes, right? That's preseason, but still he made like 70-something% of his shots. And he can jump and run, and he's massive. Like that is someone you want to try to see. Can you get them to defend? Can you get them to shoot at all? I'm interested, obviously. Here's my question to you guys. Here's my James Wiseman thought I keep having this offseason. What is there like a years ago of the draft where you stop, like it stops mattering what pick a player was, right? Like people always talk about, like, oh, he's number 2 pick. Yeah, it's exciting. You develop him. Like no one right now would be like, go get Anthony Bennett. Like he was a number 1 pick. Awesome, right? Like, so there's clearly a draft between 2013 and 2020 where like it stops mattering when you were picked and your actual NBA pedigree is more important.
I think 5 years is probably.
I think 5 is pretty close. Like Fultz right now, right? I go back to the Monte Morris answer, by the way. Fultz maybe as that third guard, but like Markelle, no one is like, oh my god, number 1 pick Markelle Fultz. Like he was 1 draft before Wiseman, right? Like, or 2. Yeah. So I don't. When does it happen?
He was the 2017.
Oh, 3 years. Jeez, I'm all over. You're right. It was the Tatum 2017. Yeah. Okay, so it's between 2017 and 2020.
Yeah, and so so last year was like the 7-year mark for him or so, and it didn't fade it. So I think we're talking about that answer is 5 years or so. I think it's pretty accurate. I know when it came to like Jahlil Okafor last year, people were throwing it out. And it had worn off for me. It had been too much time, and I really did not have interest.
So like, if the Pacers signed Jarrett Culver, would everybody be like, "Oh my God, he was the 6th pick in 2019"? Like, no.
I'll stand by that, Alex. You liked him.
I did like Jarrett Culver coming into the draft.
Like, I can't do it. He had a really bad Final Four championship game. I remember so bad that I was like scared off of him completely.
Mo Bamba, come on, the 6th pick in 2018 still available. Kevin Knox.
Last year, I still had interest in Mo Bamba last year.
I did too, actually. I thought he made sense after he got
cut. I
thought
it would have been awesome, but
you didn't have that because he was the number 6 pick. He has had like good enough NBA moments, right? I think. Yeah.
Obviously.
5 years is a good answer, I think.
I would say once they're on their 3rd team is kind of when I'm done.
That's a good point too. How much have they moved around?
Like he was so injury prone with Golden State, and then he get traded to Detroit, and like I guess he had some decent moments in Detroit, but like they were like more flash in the pan things than like anything exciting. So obviously if it was good enough, Detroit would have been a great team for him to stay with. But
so this is the last year where it's like, well, in my head, maybe the Pacers obviously think differently. They have analytics models and stuff. He's still young, but like this is probably the last year where he is former number 2 pick. Let's try to develop him, James Wiseman. And after this, it's got to be he is productive player, James Wiseman, which is how I answered the question about his season. Like he's got to be good and impactful and not just like, ooh, that was nice. You know, there's a big difference.
I think, to be honest, there's a scenario where if it doesn't work out for James Wiseman this year, this is where like you could be out of the league. Like I think it's in that realm of possibility because look at Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant was a productive backup, center last year that is now playing in Greece. So I think it's like this is a huge make or break year for James Wiseman.
Are we sure that Thomas Bryant is worse than James Wiseman?
We're not right now, not with injury. So we're gonna have to remain. We'll have to see what happens. The idea of James Wiseman, just like we're talking about, it's year 5 of that window where there's still that idea, and we just hope that it becomes a reality.
He was just like okay, right? Thomas Bryant was. He was like legitimately helpful in 3 playoff wins, right?
Yeah,
and he can't get an NBA job. So I wonder this. I don't know Thomas Bryant enough to ask. Is he out of the NBA because literally no one wanted him? Or is he out of the NBA because he can get $3 million to go be the man in Greece and no one's giving him $3 million or a guaranteed money in the NBA? Like there's a different questions. But regardless, good for him. That'll be a fun life to live.
No, it definitely will be. And I do think he is an NBA talent. So it's really unfortunate. But at the same point, hey, I wish him luck. But I think it's a good segue to turn over to Alex, hey, you love a good draft. So I think it's only right that you kick this off and tell everyone what the draft is today.
Well, there wasn't very many people that commented, but I will say our friend Derek Kramer from iPacers did comment on the post that I put out there of a little 3x5 index card that I had of our Tony's draft that we did last time. I don't know if it was the last time you were on, but like one of the last times you came on, we did the Tony's draft. And it was a lot of fun. And so I think I let you pick where you wanted to be put at in the draft order 1, 2, or 3. Now, we did find out before we got on here that Facci did not do his homework. So the question is, Facci, are you going to draft?
How many were we looking to draft?
Starting 5. Can you do 5?
Starting 5. Oh, man. I will do my best. All right.
Okay.
Let him go first so we can get like an easy,
I'll go last because I'm picking it because it's the Alex draft. So I'm going to go last and put Tony in the middle.
Now, I do have a question, though. Do they have to be named Alex, or could it be some form of, of that?
If it's Alexander, we'll go with it.
Okay, I was going to say, I have 2 Alexanders. I have 3 Alexanders.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's
in the
fine.
mix.
I'm not that concerned about Alex or Alexander because you can call him. I'm sure not most people have the first name of Alex. I'm sure most of their first names are Alexander. We just don't call him that.
All right. Well, hey, all right. First pick. I'll go with it. All right. I'm going to go Alex Trebek. All right. I think it's a universally,
top of my list.
You can't say anything bad about Alex Trebek.
I thought it was going to be me, Facci. What the heck, man?
You did not make my cut of my short list.
You didn't even do any yet.
I had a couple. You weren't on there. I'm sorry. It's a very competitive field. All right?
It's a very competitive field. I like it. You should have said who was Alex Trebek. That was a great joke that you noticed there.
Very nice.
I'm very disappointed you picked him and didn't do the line.
Wasted opportunity.
All right, Tony, you're up.
Top of my well-sorted nonfiction list was Alex Trebek. Great pick, clear number 1. Coming, all the scouts loved him. No doubt about that. Wembanyama-esque. Good job winning the lottery this year, Facci. That's a good pick. I'll go fiction first. My wife will be happy with this pick. Alex Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place. Selena Gomez's probably first big break. I have no idea what her first big break is, but every fall it comes to our household. Wizards of Waverly Place rerun is coming through. My wife's into all kinds of shows like that. Like we have all the original Bewitched DVDs, including the black and white seasons. Every morning on the weekends, we pop in some Bewitched show, any show about witches, magic, etc. So Alex Russo, welcome to the squad.
Sure.
Hey, anybody that's got Selena Gomez on their roster, I think that's a pretty slam.
No. Alex Russo.
I know. I'm just saying. Selena Gomez.
It's not the Selena draft.
We'll do that one next. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I know
there's only one.
Yeah. I will go back to back here. And I hate to do like 2 sports people back to back, but I feel like I kind of have to based on how my board is. So I'm going to go with obviously Alex Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably one of the best hockey players of all time, Alexander Ovechkin.
Yeah, I hoped you wouldn't. That's a strong pick. So, all right. So I guess that brings it to
Tony. Tony's back up.
Those were picks 3 and 5 on my nonfiction board. So that's It's alarming to see them drop off that quickly. I will then go to number 2 on my nonfiction board. The reason that we scheduled this podcast, the manner of communication, used the phone. Alexander Graham Bell, changing our lives all these centuries later. All these centuries, 1+ century later. Alexander Graham Bell, welcome to the team.
Alexander Graham Bell coming in. All right.
That's why I needed the Alexander clarity.
Yes. No, I think it's perfect.
All right, now I'm going with a guy that had quite a good career in the NBA. I just wish that it could have been a little bit longer in Indiana. It's Alex English.
Good choice.
Would have been real great if he had stuck around with the Pacers for more than just one season, but had a great career with the Denver Nuggets.
It's a good pick. Obviously, a little bit underrated of a player, but everybody always has great things to say about him when they hear his name.
Yep.
Yeah, now I gotta decide how I want.
Facci's back up again.
Oh yeah.
Snake draft. So you get number 3 on your roster, Facci.
Little bit of a loophole here. That's why I had to ask. All right. So doesn't go by Alex. Many people might not even know his first name is Alex. I'm not talking about my co-host either. Talking about Lex Luthor. Can I do it?
Oh,
I do it. I had to do this and say, I just want to double check here. Turns out his first name is indeed Alexander. So I'm going Lex Luthor here.
Okay, we'll give it to you.
That's a great pick. I didn't even.
The internet helped you out on that one, didn't it?
You think I wasn't prepared? I'm telling you, I could do some.
Crams for the test and still has maybe the best.
Yeah, I'm liking the squad so far.
He's a
all right. I'll do my adjacent to the NBA pick here. Have you guys seen Madagascar?
Dang it. Do not pick this. I'm so mad at you right now. Crap.
Alex the Lion is going to Tony's team. Does everyone remember, by the way, there's an episode where they're on a New York subway and Alex the Lion is a random person is cowering in fear that a lion is sitting next to them on the subway, and that person's reading a newspaper. And the lion reads the newspaper and says, Nick's lost again. And that's funny because Ben Stiller is the voice of the Lion. So Ben Stiller had to say that the Knicks lost again. Alex the Lion is my 3rd pick.
Now that you mentioned that Ben Stiller plays the voice of Alex the Lion, I'm kind of glad that I don't have him. Just because he's a Knicks guy. But I've had people come up to me and say Alex the Lion several times.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to go with my first fictional character. I'm going to go with Alex Hitchens, a.k.a. Hitch, Will Smith.
I debated that. Strong pick. Underrated movie too.
Yeah, that's a good one there. And then I'm just gonna keep it with the sports theme. I have to pick her. I'm gonna pick Alex Morgan.
That was gonna be my next one.
I'll trade you.
trade back in for Alex the Lion.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 5 more, so I'm probably gonna get 2 of these for sure. All right, I have 2 fictions. I'll go back to nonfiction, to the land of politics, but not because of the politics, because of the banger musical Alexander Hamilton.
Good one,
Team Tony.
All right. So it's over to me.
You got 2 in a row, Facci, and that'll be your starting 5.
2 in a row. This is it. All right. I'm going Alex Caruso.
Okay.
I wish I wasn't, but it's still too correct behind of the impact that he made. And then I'm going to go, look, the name itself, it just kind of packs a punch, adds a little bit of glamour to my team. Going Alexander the Great, former king of Greece. Just, it adds a little pizzazz to my squad.
You don't even like the Greece people or people from Greece. You just said it on the last episode we did with Caitlin.
Hey,
I haven't tried the Greek.
We're going to sell tickets. All right. We got Alexander the Great here. People want to see it. We're selling tickets.
All right. Tony, your last one.
I have four Alexes left on the board. We'll get to honorable mentions later. I'm having a hard time deciding. I would like someone to tell me if I should go nonfiction or fiction. What would be a better pick here?
I think fiction would be better.
3 of the 4 are fiction. That's tougher. Okay. I will just take Alex Cabot from SVU, the assistant DA, a true pro, the legendary no-nonsense lawyer. Not my favorite pick I've made today, but I need some no-nonsense on the team.
Late round value there. So, solid.
I'm not familiar with who that is, so I'd have to maybe see a picture to know who that is, Tony, to be honest with you.
Have you watched SVU?
I have, but it's been a hot minute.
She's only on like 2 or 3 seasons.
Okay. Well, I respect it. I trust you. My last pick It's going to be the lead singer of the Arctic Monkeys. It's Alex Turner.
Ooh.
Don't know if you guys like the Arctic Monkeys or not, but
Heard of the
I'm a
band,
fan.
would have never known the name of Alex Turner. So
Yeah, I enjoy that band a lot.
Do we have honorable mentions?
go for it.
know?
I got one guy that wasn't picked that I would have debated.
Who was that?
Who is it?
Alex Smith, quarterback, former number
Alex
one
Smith.
pick, solid career.
You should have drafted his leg, Facci.
Yeah, I know. It was one of those where, I mean, how could you not think of the injury after that? It's unfortunate, but, I like my squad. There just wasn't enough room for one more Alex on this squad.
I mean, I thought about drafting myself, but
I was going to say, Alex Golden is clearly an honorable mention, yeah?
I wasn't going to be the guy that did it. Look,
Why?
it's just, it would have been too, I couldn't do
Could
it.
have said this guy gives me the pep in the step. I mean, it would have been perfect timing for you. Diamond in the Huff, Alex.
Hey, you know what? Maybe if it was your birthday, something of the sort, I could have done it, but we still got a little bit more time before your birthday. So.
Yeah, next month.
I have 3 that we did not name.
Right.
One, I'm certain someone listening was like, oh, I wonder if they'll pick him, and then the other 2 are very random. Alex Van Halen from Van Halen, I thought might actually be picked. That is the obvious good one. The Clockwork Orange main character's name is Alex. That is a very creepy, sad, whatever you want to say, story. If anyone knows it, though, I have
never seen the movie, to be honest. I've heard it's one of the best movies.
It's a great movie. Do you know the plot?
I have no idea what the plot is.
Don't,
my art teacher just always said that was his favorite movie, but never dove into anything else besides just saying that.
Do you like a psych thriller, I guess is the best way to put it, kind of movies?
I think I would like it then.
It's kind of gross, but it's very good. And then Alex Carville, he's the security car in Cars 2 that's trying to keep Mater from getting back in to the arena after the race in, I think, London. And he can't do it. He's unsuccessful, but a cute character.
One name that we should have definitely maybe drafted that we did not. The winner of the Indy 500.
Oh my gosh.
Alexander Rossi.
Oof,
that is embarrassing.
Can't even get drafted after winning the Indy 500. Yeah, buy an Indy.
We lost that game, so I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a curse. If you win the 500, don't come to the arena. That's
what a tough omission. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. So that's the Alex draft. I feel like the Tony draft was better. I'm disappointed.
No, I don't think
Tony took the lion from me.
I did not.
I had Tony the Tiger last time, so this makes sense.
Limited pool. Limited pool for Alex's. I mean, if you were to go by an NBA list of just Alex, it's bare bones out there.
Alex Gonzalez, baseball.
Very solid player for a long time. So, but didn't get drafted. Didn't make the top 15. So clearly, there's a line between solid and great. But I feel comfortable with my roster. I really do feel good about this one. Thought I was really doomed coming into this draft. Was behind on the research, but Alex Trebek, Alex English, Lex Luthor, Alex Caruso, and Alexander the Great, I think is a pretty good starting 5. And I think we're happy, and we're going to stay off the trade market.
I will say, Facci, this is a lot better than your fan favorites draft.
I am pretty happy with this, and you know what? We're not picking up the phones. We're not answering the phones. Nothing of the sort. So don't be coming for any of this talent.
All right, I'll quickly do mine, and then I'll have Tony recap his draft, and then of course tell everybody where you can follow him out. So I had Alex Rodriguez, Alexander Ovechkin, Alex Hitchens, aka Hitch, Alex Morgan, and Alex Turner, lead singer of the Arctic Monkeys. And Tony, who was your 5?
Your sports squad is crazy. That is impressive.
Pretty good. 3 different sports too, which is great.
No mention of Alex Sarr. Tough day for the Wizards.
Come on, Facci, that was your number 1 pick.
I looked at for NBA players named Alex, and this was the list that came up: Alex English, Alex Sarr, Alex Caruso, and then we talked about Alex Poitras offline. It is bare bones. Like, you are not finding, and I'm sure there's 1 or 2 more that someone will throw out there. But this is rough.
All right, Tony, what was your 5 again?
My 5 is Alex Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place, Alexander Graham Bell, the phone itself, Alex the Lion from Madagascar, specifically because of the Ben Stiller Knicks reference, Alexander Hamilton of Hamilton, and of course, a key figure in American history, and Alex Cabot from SVU for a few seasons.
Perfect. I love it. And where can people find you at if they're not already following you?
the internet. Tony R East on social medias. If I talked in an interesting way today about the Pacers, Locked On Pacers might be for you, but don't listen instead of Setting the Pace. Listen after listening to Setting the Pace.
Class act. Well, Tony, it was great having you on. It's been too long. We look forward to the next time. And hey, you were telling us you got a pretty fun trip coming up, so I hope you have a blast.
Yeah. It's my last other podcast appearance till then, so very excited.
Wow. Okay.
There we go.
Right.
Much deserved break for Mr. Tony East, who has been doing a lot of running around, doing a lot of coverage of not just the Pacers run to the finals, but of course the WNBA and the All-Star weekend that was just here. So Tony East, he wears many hats. He does a great job, and we appreciate him taking the time to come on this podcast and not only talk Pacers, but do a silly little draft for us and come prepared, unlike my co-host. So with that being said, Pacer Nation, we hope you all enjoyed today's show, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.